I'm Jay from Infinite Society. I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens. I got inspired to do art because my father was like a painter back in Trinidad. He used to do a lot of oil paintings and stuff like that. I had to find this old art that he stopped doing. And I started to do art because he quit to take care of his family. So, because his father was gone, so he stopped drawing. He had like a scholarship too for art, but he didn't take it to stay home and take care of his family. So I took it as maybe I can do something with it to fulfill his dream and mine too, because I used to love art anyway. After, I guess it was genetic, I used to always draw as a kid, but then I started getting better since kindergarten all the way up after finding his old artwork. And most of my stuff was just self-taught. So who inspired me to continue with art? I would say to be creative alone, I would think Gordon Parks, because he did everything from photography to directed movies, and so I believe he used to do a little bit of painting also. And also David Sims and Guy Sims, they used to own like a black comic book company called Big City, and they had a comic book called Brother Man. They used to always try to draw like those guys. Like, I used to love their art. So yeah, I used to try to emulate everything they did, and that made me want to continue art itself. How to describe my art? I would say it's more graffiti-based mixed with cartoonist. Because I used to want to be a cartoonist, so I would say more cartoon-style-based mixed with graffiti. Because I used to always draw all the cartoons on TV, and I would get the coloring books and just redraw everything in the coloring book on my own. So yeah, I would say more. Yeah, so I started Infinite Society 9 years ago. Yeah, I started after I got a sketchbook. My girlfriend, she had bought a sketchbook after a while of me always talking I could draw, talking all this nonsense. So she bought it to me because I told her I hadn't drawn for so many years. She just bought me the sketchbook just to like, you know, mess around with it. And then I thought I couldn't draw anymore. And the first thing I drew was like a self-portrait, and it came out so good. I said, let me just continue to keep sketching. And then when I kept sketching, it started opening up in my mind all the stuff that I wanted to do as a kid. I always wanted to do the clothing line, to put more of my art on like a t-shirt type canvas to get it out into the world. So I just started with one. I drew the logo, and I started with one shirt, and I started the online, the website and shit. I just went from one shirt to 2 shirts and to 3 and to sweaters, and then it started to grow. After a while, I stayed consistent with it because I loved it so much, so it wasn't too much for me to do, so it was effortless. So when I started growing the brand, everything started to fall into place for me. Like I started to do trade shows, and from trade shows I did a pop-up shop, and everything that I did, I was told it takes people to do like, in a decade, it takes them to do like 10 years, but I did it within the first 2 years. My first pop-up was the first year that I started the brand. And actually, it was big. A lot of people turned out to like such a new brand. And then I did another pop-up, and I got cool with, you know, that's when Tumblr was big. So then I started meeting people from overseas, and then I started to send my clothes overseas to certain artists that were musicians and stuff like that. And they would wear my stuff, like in France. One dude, my good friend Bayside, he wore my stuff in his rap video, and then that created more of a following from overseas, and then I met people over there, and then that's when I started to do more overseas work, like pop-up shops. I even did a pop-up shop in France.
Alright, so this is Infinite Society's first time in Paris for the Parisian Drop Part 2. We did the first one in New York, and now it's in Paris.
I'm on my way to an island, and I'm probably shit at the pilot.
And then I also did, I went to Berlin, and I met people I was in a trade show in Berlin, and that trade show introduced me to some people from Italy who wanted me to be in their fashion week, and that's when the brand blew up even more. We did was only matter within, I would think, the 6th year of the business. So, been moving. The advice I give to anybody that just started is never give up, because the business is a lot. It's not as hard as it is when I was doing it, but it's still hard because so many people are doing it now, so it's become so oversaturated. But it doesn't matter because everybody does everything. So you can't look at everyone else saying, oh, I can't do this because everybody's doing this, because you'll never grow. So you have to pick your own lane, and if you stay consistent, it'll grow. It has to grow. As long as you continue with repetition and staying consistent, it has to grow. And you put the passion behind it. If you're doing it for money, you're gonna get tired of it and not gonna do it. But if you really love it, or love any type of art or anything that you're doing, especially with the clothing line, it'll feel like nothing. So I would say continue to do it. Never quit, because everybody quits. Because it seems to be kind of hard, because you gotta do everything. You're everybody in the beginning of the business. You're the artist, marketing, sales, everything. So, but after a while, you start to meet people, and they start to help you, and you can't do everything by yourself either. You need some help. So don't, in the beginning, you're gonna do a lot by yourself, but you should take some help if people want to give you help, especially your loved ones that you trust. So, yeah, I would say just never give up and stay consistent. So what's next? I would say we're more delving into like other forms of creativity. We're working on a movie. We're working on different types of brands, sub-brands underneath the main brand. And like, I would say like more of a sports collection, girls collection, and separate it and have different brands underneath the main brand. But we're gonna do other things like movies, films, and I would say animation and stuff like that. So we're gonna continue to break out into different forms of media, like, well, I would say creativity, art, any type of art, because we love to do all types of stuff. So maybe music, but it wouldn't be like, it'd be more of a collaboration type based thing. Mostly the next thing is a movie that we're working on right now. Actually, it's almost in the final stages of pre-production.